Hi, my name is Kayla Linus, owner of K&O Photography, where we promote love through photography. You're joining us on our second episode today of Love, Life, and Light. We are just going to pick off of our last episode where we talked about self-love in an ever-changing world. We talked about how self-love is in ourselves, different ways we can help grow that. And I just want to introduce today.
My name is Ernest Graydon.
And what do you do, Ernest, in your daily life?
So I am a religious affairs airman in the United States Air Force.
So as we navigate this world, and I understand you're like a father of 7, right?
Yeah.
So how do you
Others out there.
feel more? Do you have these conversations with your spouse, with your children about, self-love in yourselves, with each other? How do you have those conversations?
So me and my wife definitely talk about it quite often. Being a family of 9, it is very difficult to find time to love yourself, right? Because for us, it's someone's always they gotta run here. They need to go do this. They need money for this, and we're always busy. And so when it comes time for that self-love piece, right, we try to remind ourselves and the kids that, hey, it's okay to just focus on you. Like, just take time for you. You don't always have to be out here running around, and as some will say, in these streets. You don't have to be, at this friend's house. You can just chill, hang out at home, relax. Do something that focuses on you. And I find telling myself that a lot. I find me telling my wife that a lot. And that's that, but that goes to that self-love piece, right? You can love, everything about life, right? You can love everything about life and understand that sometimes you just need to take a step back and really work on you.
Because I know some people think that you have to practice self-love in yourself before you're in a relationship, or even when you're in a relationship. Like, do you stop that, or how do you talk with your wife and like, hey, I just need time for myself? Or because I know sometimes things are overwhelming, things get stressful. So just the importance of just having a time to yourself. Do you meditate? Do you talk with God? Like, what are certain things that you do?
For me, I study the Bible and I have my time with God. That re-energizes me. For others, some may say, well, I like to play video games, right? And that recharges them. But I mean, for us, I would agree. I think I would agree with your statement of how you need to know to love yourself, right, before you can love someone else and be in a relationship with someone else. But I think that requires a very introspective type of experience, if that makes sense. Reason being is because when you're young, you think you're invincible, right? Nothing's gonna hurt you, and then you're just out here living life, and then all of a sudden something happens, right? Something happens that you were not prepared for, you were not expecting, and it rocked you. It rocked you to your core. Then it's like, oh man. When something like that happens, like your view of the world changes. So it could be what love is, loyalty looks like, what friendships look like, relationships, that type of thing. And so and I'm not wishing that people have a traumatic experience, but until you go through a traumatic experience, you're not really going to fully know who you are. And so if you don't fully know who you are, how can you give yourself to somebody that you like? What are you giving? You're giving what, maybe 20% of yourself? Maybe. I don't know. Let me know if that's too deep, but I'm just.
No, I agree. There's an advice that my mom tells me all the time, and she says that you have to marry yourself, because when you're with someone, you're in that union, you're in that contract.
That's right.
You know, till death do us part, sickness and health, but it's a different meaning when you marry yourself, because you have to give that same level of commitment to yourself. And a lot that I've noticed here, especially like in young adults, is that when they go through stressful times, they seem to forget about that part. So what is like some advice that you would give to, you know, these young adults, or even like to your own children? Like, what would you say when they're going through that? Because there are, you know, there's, in this world, there's people that they compare themselves to others. And just what's some advice you would give?
Well, some of the advice I would give is, well, one, don't compare yourself to others, right? I think when you compare yourself to others, you start to not be who God created you to be, right? And so stop looking on the outside and look on the inside and figure out, what is it do I like? What is it do I find important? What is it that I love? So that's probably one of the things I would tell them. And then I would also tell them that, hey, you are loved by many people. And I know that this time may be stressful, but you don't have to go at it alone. And so if you need to talk, please talk. That's what we're here for. Now, will people take people up on that? I don't know. I have a few teenagers, and so they may not take me up on that. But it doesn't mean that what I'm saying isn't true, right? And I think in a world like today, where you talk about suicide rates, you talk about depression, you talk about anxiety, and, you know, you got all these things that are hindering young adults. I think it gets back to love, right? It gets back to knowing that you are worthy of love. And yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. You are worthy of love.
And I think is one thing important to understand, and just remember too, that God is love. And they say that God is in every single one of us. So even if you do feel alone, I think it just feels good to know that God is always there with you.
I agree.
And thank you for being here today and listening to our podcast. If you want to listen to more, just follow me on Facebook, Instagram at KNO Photography, and my YouTube channel as well at KNO Photography. And just remember that you are loved and you are also important. Thank you.